folks, I got a good one for you. Thanks to my brother in arms, my partner in crime, Boss Tweed. Cause he know I talked about the George Wallace thing before, and then the videos that I done with a listing all the Democrat governors and congressmen and all those other guys from the civil rights era that were all born Democrats and died Democrats, with the exception of one, actually two. One had to change. One changed because he didn't have a choice when he signed up for that Democrats for Nixon thing. So that was the death nail. Either he was going to get out or change to Republican, and he was from Texas. They got a freeway here named after him. It runs through San Antonio. And the other one, he just, he changed to stay in power. He changed. Well, I know there's a couple of videos out, but Boss Tweed dropped this one on me. So I just stopped everything I'm doing and figure I'm going to do this one for y'all right here, right now. If you see it, that means I already posted it, and I was waiting to see if Massive Dynamic responded, telling me I can't do it or not. If you're watching it on YouTube, Massive Dynamic said it's okay. But anyway, y'all know, and I said, I ain't got to go through, because I done went through this over and over and over again. Then I had some people come at me like it's something like I'm just had some new premonition. And I don't get upset, because I'm like, yeah, when I just say, dude, I covered this already. We talked about this, or this, that, and other. Well, I ain't see it. Here we go again with the tree falling in the forest. If a tree falls in the forest and you weren't around to hear it, does it make noise? And if you say, huh? I got you. But most people say, of course it does. Exactly. So just because you didn't see the video that Truth Teller made, or the one me and Truth Teller made on this subject, you know what I mean? Or the one time where all three of us, the Inquisitors, Sly, myself, and Truth, or Sly, Truth, and myself, done, don't mean that it didn't happen just because you didn't see it. But anyway, cool. I'm going to run this down. Y'all see what I just said? The pictures that I put up with Jesse and John and the civil rights are calling John Lewis. And these other freaking bohickey, and you look in the back and you got Minister Meatloaf, Reverend Rib Tip, and Bishop Buttermilk Biscuit, standing back here. One of them, Buttermilk Biscuit, he don't look like he happy to be in this picture. But there you are, Buttermilk Biscuit. Your chest out, because if not, the buffer Negroes is coming after you. Straight Democrat ticket, Negro. Straight Democrat ticket. But he ordered I said straight Democrat ticket. Watch this here. Let me go ahead and mute myself. This is 12 minutes and a couple of seconds long. So I'll play it, and then I'll give my closing arguments, which ain't gonna be nothing new, because y'all done heard me say all this before I even knew this video existed. But anyway, let's roll.
1976 seemed to be the end of a long journey for George Wallace. But there was one transformation left, one built from the suffering of a broken body, from a rediscovered religious faith, from reflection upon a life.
George Wallace's life had its ups and downs, but it was pretty down after 76. He's essentially finished as a national candidate. He leaves the governorship in 1978, and he's a fundraiser for the medical school in Birmingham. But he spends much of his time alone. He's never been very close to his family, and he broods a lot. and he begins to think about his life. I think the way all good Southern evangelicals or evangelicals do. I'm at the end of my life now. What have I accomplished? What have I done? What have I done right? What have I done wrong?
If I didn't have what it took to treat a man fair, regardless of his color, then I don't have what it takes to be the governor of your great state. That's what I want to say about that time.
I was out niggered, and I will never be out niggered again.
For the feet of tyranny, and I say segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever.
And although Wallace will never admit that he was a hater, he always says he wasn't, he realizes the consequences of his actions in terms of those around him.
And now they...
And he was right. Y'all know I always say certain things, you know, whether I like it or not. You know, just because I don't like something don't mean it wasn't true. Just like I talked about Lyndon Baines Johnson when he said, you know, got to give them a little bit of something without giving them nothing. Now I had these voting Democrat for the next 200 years just for him signing a bill that was going to go through anyway. It was going to get passed whether he signed it or not. So he figured, well, I'm going to jump up in front of it because don't read. I'm going to jump up in front of it and sign it. And here the killer part, the smart niggas in their ranks won't even tell them that they've been had. Because they want a cut of the pie too. They know there's power, privilege, and position in the ignorance of the African American Negro. The smart Negroes know that. That's why they're in the Congressional Black Caucus. Now, he was right. I've been out and I'll be damned if I get out again. And he died still in front of. He did not get out again.
They created themselves a Frankenstein monster, and the chickens are coming home to roost all over this country.
His own suffering and the purification that brings and the enlightenment that brings, and his realization that some things he had done and said could have caused others to suffer.
Oh, and the first narrator, he was a little bit off on his time of George Wallace in office. His last term as the governor of Alabama was from January 17th, 1983 to January 19th, 1987. And Bill Baxley was the lieutenant governor. He was preceded by Fob James and succeeded by H. Guy Hunt. So I'm quite sure that was probably just a slip. I'm quite sure. I mean, who knows? I don't think he meant any deceit. Sometimes we just mess up on numbers. But he was the governor until January 19th, 1987. He was. I went to Germany a few months after he left office. How about that? Anyway, onward.
Bothered him, concerned him as a Christian.
And so one by one, he picks up the telephone and he begins calling his old enemies, people who he had used as kind of punching bags in the 1960s, and asked for their forgiveness.
One of those Wallace called was a civil rights leader who had been beaten bloody by Wallace's state troopers on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in 1965.
He was very candid, very frank, I thought. He literally poured out his soul and heart to me. It was almost like a confession, like I was his priest. He was telling me everything, that he did some things that was wrong and that he was not proud of. He kept saying to me, John, I don't hate anybody. I don't hate anybody.
Are you fucking kidding me? How many years, how many videos do I got telling y'all been had? But don't worry, there's going to be some Negroes coming up here that's stepping up for them and this, that, and other, and you a coon and you ought to watch your mouth and somebody ought to do that, that, and other. But they ain't got none of that heat or energy for the one that sicked the dogs on them and had you beaten bloody and dragged off to jail. How dare you ask for us to treat you civil and for the civil rights that the Constitution guarantees you? How dare you, Negro? You ain't gonna out me again. You got that heat for men like me, but you ain't got that heat for men like them. Just like somebody already made a comment today on a David Carroll video that I put up years ago about when he is talking about MLK and the stuff. Oh, this ain't right. Cause he contradicting himself, because the books that David Carroll is using, some of them were, they were all authored by white people, even though we know Ralph Abernathy ain't white. But this is a Negro. These are those Negroes. But the black American masses deem me as the bad guy, as the guy on the wrong side of thing, and deem the ones that kiss the foot and the pinky ring are the ones that put their foot in your ass from the time that you rolled out of bed until the time that you went home. And they sitting there waiting to do it again the next day. Now those Negroes are okay. Those white people are okay because they got a D behind their name. I feel my blood pressure. Let's keep going. Onward.
In 1982, Wallace returned to politics, running for governor for the 5th time.
Fellas, glad to see y'all here. Hey, boys. Glad to see you. Hey, sweetie.
Somehow, Wallace's pleas for forgiveness had struck a chord.
And whether or not you've agreed with me in everything that I used to do and agreed to, I know that you do not. I, too, see the mistakes that all of us made in years past. Glad to see you here.
God said you must repent. And he's repentant. Governor Wallace is a child of God now. You can believe that. He helped everybody, and especially the black and the poor.
Good to see you.
Do I need to go in about your Jesus and your God and all that other stuff? I bet you she got a picture of a blue-eyed Jesus hanging on the wall and probably a picture of JFK too. I'm willing to bet you $1 to a donut. Did you hear that? This is where that straight ticket come from. That's Big Mama Nim. Because she pushed that on to her kids and her grandkids. And those are the people, her grandkids are the ones that we're dealing with today. Onward.
Here's George Wallace from a wheelchair running in 82. The guy wins with the black vote. He could not have won without it.
He won it.
He wins with the black vote. He could not have won without it. Look at these old black men. These old black women. These are from a different, these is older, these my old folks. These old black people. So you were the ones that 20 years ago, because look at, you got gray hair. So these men in their 60s and 70s. So that means George Wallace was kicking your ass in your 40s and 50s. And they come out and go in that booth and pull that big blue lever. Vote Democrat. Go blue. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I gotta hear him say that shit one more time. One more again.
Good to see you. Thank y'all very much. Here's George Wallace from a wheelchair running in 82. The guy wins with the black vote. He could not have won without it.
He wanted the black votes, and he went out and campaigned for those votes. And he made promises, and a lot of black folks went out and voted for him, and they supported him.
It said that he was wrong on segregation. I mistreated folk, and I want a chance to repent. But the burden of proof now is on him, and of course only time will tell.
For the next 4 years, Wallace kept his promises, appointing a record number of black Alabamians and depending on a coalition of blacks and whites for legislative support.
LBJ was right. And him and LBJ was, you know, they were dogs. They was road dogs. I had these voting Democrat for the next 200 years. I'm on my way out. I'm going to take one for the team. I'm taking one for the team. These knick-knocks, they going to walk. I'm the Pied Piper and they're the lemmings, and they going to follow me right off the cliff. And they show there is no way in hell I could have been in the same room with that man, let alone shake his hand.
He had meetings in this very building, in the governor's office, among black leaders, and sought to build bridges. And if he was the epitome of resistance, he became the epitome of change in the New South.
In a very strange sense, he was somewhat reverting back to the old Wallace. Maybe, just maybe, to his true self.
Governor George Wallace, we love him. Thanks,
I don't think George changed later on in his life. I think he went back to the George Wallace that I used to know. He really was for the downtrodden. He really wanted to help the people that needed help. And he more or less dropped back into the old pattern of the real George Wallace.
His health had deteriorated some during that term, and I don't believe he believed he could give a full measure of himself had he run again. He actually had 2 speeches with him as he went to the Capitol, and no one knew which one he planned to give. One was that he would seek the office again, one was he would retire.
I would like to be part of the future myself. During the past few days, I have done much evaluation and much soul searching. And some of you younger may not realize that I paid a pretty high price in 1972. Those 5 bullets gave me a thorn in the flesh as it did the Apostle Paul. And I prayed that they should be removed, but they were not. I realized in my own mind that all I'm doing very good at the present time. As I grow older, the effects of my problem may become more noticeable. I feel that I must say that I've climbed my last political mountain, but there's still some personal hills I must climb. But for now, I must pass the rope and the pick to another climber and say, climb on to high heights, climb on till you reach the very peak. Then look back and wave at me. I too will still be climbing. My fellow Alabamians, I bid you a fond and affectionate farewell.
Oh, and I forgot to add, he ran for president. I remember saying that before, because he ran against his boy LBJ, and we know LBJ. He won the Democratic presidential primary. He won the primary. He got the nomination. Then Wallace tried. Then I think he ran as a third party, and because that was 64, so 4 more years to 68. So I know he ran third party after the LBJ thing, And then I know he ran again. He ran in the primaries again in 72, because that's when he was shot. And he was shot by a dude named Arthur Bremer. And when he was, I think he's at a campaign stop. And when he was in Maryland, when he got shot by Arthur Bremer, because he was running for president. He was still on the anti-machine, as Chuck D say, when he was running for president as Democrat these times. I say him and LBJ, not a whole bunch of difference to it. LBJ, but this guy here, he was the face of segregation, of the segregated South, because he was loud, he's over the top, in your face. He never saw a camera that he didn't like. And I'll go from there. But anyway, I just want to fill that in before I got out. Onward.
Yeah, very kind.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Well, anything good out of the Wallace years? I'm afraid I can't think of a single thing.
Much that has transpired in government and on the federal level in recent years was what Wallace said espoused, not on so much on race. That's seen people focus on that, but he was against big government. He was for a strong military. He was concerned about welfare abuse, and that's what we're talking about now.
He has never gotten credit for being the figure he was and having the influence he did upon subsequent politics, Nixon and Agnew, the Reagan movement, frankly, the Buchanan movement, the Perot movement, and the others.
He's a man who's not visible. He's the invisible founding father in this whole process. The very people who profited from Wallace's ideas are the people who don't want to recognize him. He's simply not respectable.
I have no problem forgiving George Wallace.
Look at Aunt Jemima. Oh, George. I love you. You horrible man, but you just you're such a likable character. She welling up over this man that would have that had Bull Connor have his stormtroopers put his boot in your ass. They did not, that men and women alike, women they got it too. There's no way I could shed a tear for a person that had no problem ordering a beat down on me just for me wanting to be. I don't understand my people. I got to stop that. Like I said, I got to cut out that my people shit, because all skin folk ain't kin folk. Onward.
I have no problem forgiving George Wallace. I will not forget George Wallace, because we must deal with the reality of Wallace. How is it that a demagogue insulting 20 million black people daily on the television can rise to the heights that Wallace did? Forgive, yes. Forget, never.
How do you forgive that? How? Oh, that's right. That book. That book.
The man I see is not the man that many people see when they think of George Wallace. I see a man who has walked with his Lord, and his faith and his forgiveness of the man who shot him 5 times, and his expression of love for that man. And I truly believe the greatest story of him has to do with that personal side rather than anything political.
I think in this conversion of Wallace, he's cramming for final exams. He knows death is not too far away, and he wants to be on the right side, and I wish him the best. I feel sorry for him to see this dynamic,
energetic man just be a pathetic, deaf, almost blind, paralyzed, and in constant pain. I don't want that. I don't wish that on anyone.
He saw like I said, because he didn't, this feeling and vitriol here, this is not how he felt going into that presidential campaign. This is how we felt after he was paralyzed, crippled by those gunshots. And then what, like I said, when his health started to deteriorate, he had a change of heart. No, he didn't. He could see the mercy seat from his front porch. And you people that cause I know I study religion forwards and backwards years on end. I'm willing to bet you I know the Bible better than some people that call themselves professing preaching it. Because I done busted a whole bunch of Minister Meatloaf, Deacon Drumstick, and Bishop Buttermilk Biscuit, and Pastor Pulled Pork. I done wore they out over the year. Respectfully, but I wore they out regardless. He could see that golden mercy seat with the two angels with their wings put up there. He could see the Ark of the Covenant coming into view from his front porch. Hey, all y'all biblical scholars, tell me what's inside that ark. Tell me what's under the lid of the mercy seat. I know it. I know it by heart. Known it for years. Anyway, let's finish this off.
The things that he have gone through, it was enough to change him. And I do believe he has changed.
You can believe what you want to believe. Y'all know how many times y'all done heard me say, I will never stop someone from believing what they want to believe. A lot of people tell me this, that, and I just go, okay. See, because I'll let you pass. It's just when you try to tell me that water ain't wet and the wind doesn't blow and that I'm a this, that, and other for thinking that it do, that's when you will get battled. That's when the swords will be unsheathed, Gideon's trumpet will blow, and the walls of Jericho will come tumbling down. You got the wrong guy. When you see that little, wait a minute, I should have pulled out. I should have asked Sly, could I borrow the sheriff for Sly? What? Sly, what do you want, Nick? Let me borrow the chair up. For what? I needed to do the intro for this video. Why you need my chair up? I wanted to use the educational tool. Oh, okay, just bring them back. Come on, chair up. Yay! Bye, Sly. I'll see you later. We're going to use Nick Taylor's educational tool. You can ignore reality all you want. And I'll let you do so. I'm just going to hunch up my shoulders and walk away. Is when you try to get in front of me and block my path because I don't want to see, because I want to ignore reality and ignore what's staring me in the face. That's when you're going to have a problem. I hope y'all like this. I hope you enjoyed it. Rate, comment, share, subscribe. Peace, y'all. Hey, chair up. Yeah. Let's go, man. Tell them out. Say goodbye, y'all. Goodbye, y'all. Peace.